You have never been able to explain it properly. But something about the way you experience the world feels heavier than it should. You think more than most people around you. You feel more than most people show. And instead of feeling like a gift, most days it just feels exhausting. Psychology finally has an explanation for why, and it will make complete sense by the end of this video. 1. Your brain never gives you a moment of genuine rest. Do you lie awake at night replaying conversations? Running scenarios for things that have not happened yet? Finding connections between ideas that nobody around you seems to notice? This is not anxiety. Research by neuroscientist Rex Young at the University of New Mexico found that higher intelligence is directly linked to richer connectivity between distant regions of the brain. Your brain is not overthinking. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. The problem is that it never stops. Not at night. Not on weekends. Not during the things that are supposed to feel relaxing. And that constant running is one of the most exhausting things a human nervous system can experience. 2. You feel things at a depth most people around you cannot understand. Here is the one that surprises people most. There is a widespread assumption that high intelligence means emotional detachment. The cold, rational thinker who lives entirely in logic. Psychology research directly contradicts this. Psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski spent decades studying gifted individuals and found what he called emotional overexcitability. A heightened sensitivity to beauty, music, injustice, and the pain of others that is significantly more intense in highly intelligent people. A study published in the journal Intelligence found that higher IQ correlated with greater emotional depth and reactivity, not less. You do not feel too much because something is wrong with you. You feel too much because your brain was built to process the world at a resolution most people never experience. 3. You doubt yourself more than anyone would ever believe. Does this sound familiar? You analyze your own thinking more harshly than anyone else ever would. You see every flaw in your own work before you show it to anyone. You hold yourself to a standard that does not exist for anyone else around you. Research psychologist Albert Ellis observed that highly intelligent individuals were among the most prone to treating any gap between their performance and their potential as evidence of fundamental inadequacy. But here is what the research actually shows. The deeper your understanding of something, the more clearly you can see how much you do not yet know. The doubt is not a sign of lesser intelligence. It is almost always the most reliable signature of a greater one. The person who is certain about everything is almost never the most intelligent person in the room. 4. You have spent your whole life feeling like you do not quite belong anywhere, not a dramatic loneliness. Just a quiet, persistent awareness of being slightly out of sync with the world around you. Conversations that do not go deep enough. Environments that do not offer what your brain actually needs. People who cannot quite follow you all the way to the bottom of an idea without turning back. Psychologist Letta Hollingworth called this stimulus poverty, the experience of a mind that cannot find sufficient depth or challenge in its immediate environment. And the result? You hold back. You calibrate yourself down. You show a smaller version of yourself in most rooms you walk into. Because experience taught you that the full version is too much for most people to hold. Research from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi found that individuals with the greatest intellectual capacity almost universally describe their inner lives as the most complex and the hardest to share. Not because they were suffering, because they were experiencing life at a level of detail that most people around them simply were not. Here is what I want you to understand after watching this. The exhaustion you feel is not weakness. The depth you feel is not a problem. The doubt you carry is not evidence that you are less capable. And the quiet sense of not quite fitting anywhere is not a flaw in you. It is the predictable result of experiencing the world at a resolution most people never have access to. What looks from the outside like a collection of quiet difficulties is actually something very specific. A mind that was built to go further, feel more deeply, and process more completely than most of the environments it moves through every day. That is not something to fix. That is something to finally understand. Which of these 4 hit you the hardest? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this gave language to something you have been carrying quietly for a long time, subscribe. This channel exists for exactly that. See you next time.